Yeah, look at this. Holy shit. But yeah, I'm not even sure. Oh my god. Look at this here. Oh my god. So are they just letting it get worse so that they can, you know, introduce like even farther martial law and like be even more aggressive and then have the public accept it? I mean, is that what's happening? I don't know.
Yeah, so, Homa, we're here on I Street, and there is a heavy police presence. You can see a bunch of police lights flashing down here on I Street. The whole road is blocked off as we're walking up. There is police that is directing cars to go in opposite directions as this road is closed off. We're working our way a little bit closer, so we don't really have any information on anything as of now, but as...
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. America is formed from unleashing violence upon people who disagreed politically. Yeah, because you weren't able to vote. You see, you couldn't vote King George out of office. You can vote Trump out of office. You can vote for somebody different than Trump. You can't vote for George Washington to be your leader rather than King George. So it's just, again, suspect in custody. Wait, hold up.
Closer, of course, we'll bring you every bit of information that we can gather. But all we have right now is that these streets are just lined with every kind of cop car and every kind of, you know, presence that they can
feel like
figure
voting
out
doesn't
what is
matter.
going on as we do get closer to the metro station.
What do we know?
It obviously matters.
Julie, we see dozens and dozens of police officers there right now.
Probably young kids looking for a way to pay to college. They're guarding a roadway.
Yeah. Give us for perspective of folks who are just now joining in here at the top of the hour. How close are you to the White House?
Looks like we're probably about a block off of it here. We are just coming up to, we are just past.
Yeah, this is a thing where, like, I mean, preventing somebody from getting a gun and shooting two people is impossible. You can't do that. Like, realistically, as much as people want to say, oh, they need to put a stop to this, how are they letting this happen? The reality is that you can't stop this from happening. Oh, they got the suspect in custody.
Away from the White House.
Oh,
and if
shit.
You're just now joining us, we're understanding that 2 National Guard members have been shot in D.C. Their conditions unknown, but we are learning from the AP right now that they're reporting a suspect is in custody, and D.C. police saying the scene is secure and it is contained. As you're joining us now, Rich, walk us through kind of what you're seeing and what the next movements will be from this massive police presence.
Yeah.
Well, here you got multiple agencies working together.
The FBI is doing its job like all their agencies. Trump deployed National Guards for weeks now. He's speaking nonsense. Crime's been drastically down. You didn't listen to what I said.
Not seriously injured.
You learn to listen.
When they report DC police as one
that's okay,
individuals
though.
in custody,
you'll learn.
Listen, we've had these reports when things happen immediately, but that doesn't mean that there's only one individual. It means a person is detained, and they may or may not be the shooter. They seem to indicate that it is the shooter.
Well, yeah,
what I can see from the scene is the way they have so much law enforcement presence and so many bystanders with cameras and standing around. I do agree, number one, it's probably not an active scene anymore because they would not have bystanders. They would have been out of the area. Number two, they're already probably at intelligence centers looking at all the cameras for the area to see what they can find. There's body cameras from the police, the National Guard. I'm not sure if they're equipped with body cameras, but all the street cameras and stores have cameras. They are probably checking them immediately. Now, being, my family, actually, my grandparents were from Connecticut Avenue North. So this is a very hectic time. It's we're talking about 3 o'clock on a Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. And like you said, it's inundated with the visitors to the area. So what will happen next is they'll archive and record all the data they have on the cameras. They'll try to see what they can piece together. They're probably, hopefully the guardsmen are well enough to be interviewed and they can give them some idea of what happened. Now, being in the proximity of the White House, the first thing is a red flag. Is they probably, if they hadn't locked down the White House, I mean, we understand the president and the first lady
not even there.
They probably certainly secured the perimeter.
So I was thinking about that video.
Much tighter than they had. To just be aware that it may not be over.
I was
it may be a
distraction.
We don't know if the person was coming off the subway or going underground or persons. Again, I say pause a little bit because the initial reports are not always accurate.
Anyway,
I think that we're going to hear a lot of information coming out. But like I said, look right now as the bystanders are on the corners. They got cameras. it doesn't, if it was live scene or active shooter, they would be running, they wouldn't be there.
Right.
You know, so I'm sure the police.
Sure, so they probably got the guy. That's good. I'm glad. I mean, obviously, it's a huge fucking relief that, they got somebody that went and did that shit, right? But we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll see what happens if this is actually him or not. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, my assumption is that it probably was. But, yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of surprised more than anything that something like this would happen. And to me, like, what I think is... I think this is probably another mentally ill retard. That's what I think that it is. It is another mentally ill retard that probably got hopped up on some weird, like, again, you could say that it's an ideology, but if you're going out a day before Thanksgiving and shooting random people in the head, I'm sorry, but, like, you're nuts. You're Looney Tunes. What do you mean? Like, yeah, it's crazy. They didn't call him MAGA yet? Well, I don't know if he's a Trump's... Here's the truth. The people that go out and they do these shootings are nuts. They're not left. They're not right. They're nuts. They're nutballs. Like, these are people that think they're talking to demons. These are people that think that they know Donald Trump. Yeah, they're not in a party. Yeah, they're not in a party. Like, yeah, some of these people could have gotten, radicalized by rhetoric or something like that. But these people are very, very far beyond that as well. So, yeah, leftists are nuts in general. Well, the problem with left-wing violence is that social media has a tendency to tolerate it or think that it's okay, right? Like, for example, like after Charlie Kirk got killed and you had a bunch of people talking about like, oh, he deserved it, it's a good thing, right? So that's really what the problem is. The actual problem isn't that it happens. The problem is that there's a culture around it happening that glorifies it. And that's the real issue. The real issue isn't stuff like this happening. And I understand that obviously that might sound crass or harsh to say, but I really believe that to be true. It's not necessarily the thing itself. It's the culture around the thing and how it's tolerated. That's ignoring all the real use of political violence who seem from the left, like hits against ICE. Yeah, they could be crazy, but they could just also be anarchists. Well, I think that you like, that's a huge difference though, right? Like somebody going and like slapping an ICE officer or even throwing a rock at an ICE officer, like that is like multiple measures and like magnitudes of like severity different than trying to get the drop on somebody, getting a gun, shooting them in the head, and then killing somebody. Like, that's totally different. Now, even though you could kill somebody with a rock and, some of these people would want to shoot the ICE members, going and doing that is crazy. That's crazy behavior. Another mentally ill retard. How long we get the fact that the left is overwhelmingly using extreme violence? Well, I think that the left does weaponize violence way more often than right-wing people do, at least nowadays. I mean, you want to look at it historically, you can go back and forth about it, but I think that nowadays, especially in the last 5 years, it's undeniable that, like, the vast, vast, vast majority of left-wing of violence is left-wing people, right? And by the way, all of the studies and everything that show this stuff are totally biased, and their data collection is completely biased. They are not actually trying to, they're adding in, like, prison violence and shit like that into right-wing violence, like, because neo-Nazis are just categorically right-wing, but the left-wing people there, or the people that are like the opposite of neo-Nazis are not categorically left-wing. No. It's very obvious that, like, again, like, look at Tesla burnings, look at the ICE riots, look at, the BLM riots. These were all left-wing crash outs, right? It was every single time. So yes, and they weaponize their emotions violently, kind of deep, but thoughts, yeah, they do. And I don't think that anybody should put up with it. I'll tell you that. And on a topic, if governments can arrest people for online hate speech, how do we prevent those laws from being used to punish criticism or unpopular opinions? I wasn't talking about hate speech. I never said hate speech. If you think that I said that, I don't know why you think that, but I didn't. And so, yeah, it's really just that simple. What I did say, though, actually, is that let me see here, taking a suspect into custody. Oh, here we go.
Andrew McCabe, a former FBI deputy director. Andy, we are just learning from our producer that the scene has been secured. This is 17th and I, one block from...
How much longer do you think the far right MAGA will put up with this before they start fighting back? Apparently they never will. Like, I don't know. Like, in my opinion, if it hasn't happened yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Like, in my opinion, I think that you need to just totally crush these people. Like, any of these people that are, like, advocating for violence online, any of these people that are going on the internet saying this stuff, going on TV shows that are, like, you know, playing footsie with it, etc. I think that, you know, again, they could absolutely crucify them for doing this, and they don't do that. And I think the fact that they don't do that it enables more of it to happen. And I think that what's going to happen is that every single one of these things that happens makes it to where the multiplier effect to the counter response will be worse. So basically, if it was only one bad thing that happened, you probably wouldn't have a very big counter response. But it's kind of like, here's a really great example for this, is like Twitter. So if you look at Twitter, people, whenever they weren't able to, like, Twitter was less racist when it wasn't actually heavily moderated. Like, I'm talking in like 2012, 2013. There wasn't really a lot of moderation on Twitter. People could generally say and do what they wanted to do. It was actually less racist then than it is now. And by a mile, too. Like, infinitely less racist. But the reason why it's a lot more racist now is because people spent years, and they hate gay people, they hate trans people, is that they spent years telling people that you can't do this. And so whenever you tell people that you can't do this and you oppress them, and then you tell them, oh, you can't have this opinion, you can't say this thing, and then finally they're able to do it, they do it even more than if they were just allowed to do it in the first place. So I think that's really it. Do you think the left's response to January 6th and perceived incompetence from terrible economy circumstances in the country? Yeah, of course. Obviously, the economy is a big reason. Yeah, sure. COVID brought way too many normies online? Yeah. They do it out of spite? They do. And I think that doing things out of spite is incredibly underrated. It's crazy how effective doing things out of spite is. Because the reason why it's so effective, and this is why it's such a dangerous political tool, is because it doesn't have any sort of obligation to morality. There is no obligations to ethics or morality. It doesn't matter about whether, oh, are you right or are you wrong? It's not about that. It's about how can I take the most things away from you? And if you make policy based off of that, and you're doing things based off of that, that's not a good thing. It's crazy people want to be seen as heroes by those who glorify it. Yeah, definitely. And they think they can get the recognition that Luigi got. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
In the White House, there is a suspect currently in custody. Obviously, we have very limited details, just that several people were hurt. At least one member of the U.S. National Guard has been shot. Can you give us a sense of how an investigation like this begins, essentially? We have a suspect in custody, but now is when some of the real work begins.
When you heard that years ago? Yeah, I know.
So, especially if we go back.
There's TV networks like CNN, MSNBC that radicalize the lunatics. I think that news publications, like I think Fox does it too for right-wing people as well. But I do think that news, like basically a lot of media plays a huge role in radicalizing people. You're right. Look at the photo of the suspect. I don't know if they have a photo of them. I'll see what, are they black? Oh my God, are they black? Oh wow. It's a guy. It's a fat guy. And then, oh, he's got a beard, and so he must be a Muslim. Yes! It's a guy with darker skin, and he's got a beard. It must be a fucking Muslim. I knew it. I knew it. Just look at him. Why is he half naked? Great question. Amazing question. Why is he half naked? I don't know. Yeah, is he wearing lingerie? Yeah, his name must be Muhammad, guys. Jesus Christ. I don't know whether that's true or not. And it's unfortunate he's in custody and not a hearse. Yeah, true. And very, very true. Hippocratic oath shouldn't apply to these people. I don't know about that. I think it's fine to treat them. It's okay. You get this guy back and healthy, and then his job is to turn big rocks into little rocks for the rest of his life. Problem solved. Seems good to me. It's either Muhammad or Jihad. What if his name is Muhammad Jihad? Oh my God. Can you imagine that? What if he's trans too? A trans guy named Muhammad Jihad. Man. Or Steve. The guy's name is Steve Williams. Yeah, family came over in the Mayflower. She's just got a bit darker skin and a beard. Yeah. Yeah, Jack Smith. Oh man, and yeah, I guess we're gonna find out, right? And just a pilgrim, yeah, Stephen Williams. And imagine being a trans Hobbit Muslim. Oh, you're right. And I guess we'll find out. I mean, it's it's ongoing, right?
Law enforcement, Metro Transit Police, MPD, U.S. Park Police, and Secret Service all involved. And I'll tell you, on our way here to the White House to help assist in the coverage, we saw a large police and fire presence right down by Capital One Arena. We believe there's a Caps game tonight, and we thought perhaps it had to do with the shooting here, but it was an elderly couple that had lost control and smashed into a building along 7th Street, basically right across the street excuse me, I said 17th, 7th Street at I, right across basically from Capital One Arena, and there were National Guard troops standing there helping to provide perimeter security down at that.
Yeah, it seems like nobody really knows, right? And they're afraid of things. Yeah, they're aiming for Candace and Miss. I've been burned by our government too many times. I frankly don't believe the reason they're bombing these boats is drugs when the result they want is another regime change war. Well, I mean, why not both, right? I mean, if you think the guy's bringing over drugs and he's allowing his country to infect your country with drugs, then wouldn't you also want regime change? Like, I mean, if you have somebody that's basically saying that you think that it's acceptable that a bunch of people in your country are sending over poison to another country to like, I mean, this is my outlook on it, right? Is that we spend I spend $1 trillion on the military. Like, the U.S. spends $1 trillion. I pay my taxes every year for the military. If we can't get rid of a guy who is allowing people to basically commit chemical warfare against our country, if we can't get rid of that person, I want my money back. I do. I want it back. Like, then let's just cancel the military. Because obviously we're not using it. So why are we paying for it? Yeah, we spend so much money on missiles. Yeah, we're spending all this money on missiles, all this money on bombs, all this money on aircraft carriers, and you're telling me that we can't figure this out? It's nuts. Yeah, out of the reasons they're being aggressors who have no care for our laws, why the hell would we treat that? Yeah, exactly. And did you see the National Guardsmen that got shot out of the White House? Yeah, I did. It's still kind of uncertain whether the person was a... like why they did it or anything like that. I have no idea. We know the details of the incident. MAGA Twitter's already started blaming Democrats for telling the military not to follow unlawful orders, which is the law. I think, again, Hassan is engaging in dishonesty. He's engaging in blatant dishonesty. You don't get to tell people constantly that, Trump is an existential threat. He's a constitutional threat. He's doing all these bad things. And, he's, not following the law and everything. And then, oh, wow, you make a video and you say, don't listen to people and don't follow illegal orders after you've just spent months telling people that what his orders are illegal. Like, you're very clearly trying to paint the picture of him being a fascist dictator that's trying to take over everything. And by the way, he's very clearly not, okay? And sometimes I wish he was more of one, because I think that people are running fucking wild, and it could be a lot better if we didn't deal with it. So yeah, it's so dishonest. Yeah, it's so dishonest. Completely dishonest. It's driving a narrative. Yeah, they're driving a narrative about this. People insulting the President of the United States, doesn't know whether the guys in boats are civilians or drug smugglers or wild. Just think about what you're saying for a second. You think the CIA has the same doubts as you? Yeah. But either way, again, I don't think that the Democrats saying this, I don't really think that's the reason why this happened. I think it's probably just going to be a nutball, right?
Actually, what the president is doing through the Secretary of Defense is creating units, official military units, to, quite frankly, watch the American people. And that's the thing that is absolutely abhorrent. It reminds me so much of what happened in Germany in the 1930s.
So at a certain point, you have to assume that this level of rhetoric and constantly comparing these people to Nazis is probably a contributor towards hostility about them. Now, we don't know whether that's the case with this one or not, but I think that to say that the rhetoric doesn't matter, if the rhetoric doesn't matter, then why do you keep using it? I mean, think about it like that. So yeah, he was there, right? Yeah, it reminds me of the 1930s. He was over 90 years old. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously he's speaking about like history, but like in general, I'm from Germany and that's bullshit what they say. I mean, again, like this is just what they say everything, right? They compare him to Nazis. 2 troops were just shot. This is a direct result of the left's dangerous rhetoric. Yeah, I mean, again, I think that everybody engages in like extreme rhetoric, but some of this stuff that happens, and oh, here we go.
It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians.
Other way around, it seems.
It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement and for the communities on the ground. So it was basically a warning to say, like, if you're asked to do something, particularly against American citizens, look at these videos coming out.
Yeah, sure, against American citizens. How do you know they're a citizen? Yeah, there you go, Karen, shut the fuck up. Yeah, it's pretty obvious what's going on here, right? It is. It's pretty fucking obvious. And anyway, where's here? I'll see if I can find that. Don't want to really look at that. And there's the guy right there, civilian. It's an Arab Muslim. I mean, it's impossible to have any idea.
Ramping up attacks and assaults on ICE agents, federal officers, law enforcement, and now we have National Guardsmen. I have no doubt in my mind that this person will be brought into custody. There's extremely high-level cameras, video surveillance, and I guarantee you that all hands are on deck right now.
They're going to get his ass.
That Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security, is looking into this. I guarantee you FBI will be involved, local police departments. Disgusting, but we see how they're ramping up attacks and assaults on ICE agents, federal officers, law.
Yep, there we go. And National Guard are normal people. They aren't programmable robots. These people are disgusting. Yeah, sure. And I hate that I had a chance to meet with people who live with the Nazi occupation. It's so fucking annoying when people bring it up to diminish what happened to those people. If they were still alive, they'd for sure not agree with these morons. Yeah, I think that a lot of them wouldn't. I mean, it's such a crazy misrepresentation to say that, trying to enforce like the border laws, for example, is the same as like Nazi Germany. It's just crazy. But yeah, this is what I think that they do, right? Is that they go and they will make these implications that, oh, this is kind of like in Germany in the 1930s. So they kind of put pieces together and allow other people to fill in the gaps, to call them Nazis or to justify being violent towards them. Both are confirmed dead, are they? I don't know. Let me see.
Were injured in the line of duty. And first of all, I want everybody who's a person of faith to say a prayer for those 2 National Guardsmen that they're able to spend Thanksgiving with their families instead of losing their lives, because I understand they're still in pretty tough condition. But I think it's a somber reminder that soldiers, whether they're active duty, reserve, or National Guard, our soldiers are the sword and the shield of the United States of America. And as a person who goes into work every single day in that building and knows that there are a lot of people who wear the uniform of the United States Army,
on Thanksgiving,
let me just say very personally, thank them for what they're doing. We're grateful to them, and we're praying that they're going to be safe and they're going to spend Thanksgiving with their families. God bless them.
Martial law is trending. What's this? Martial law? Declare martial law in this country, shut it down and clean it up. This is it. Funny how Redditors hate martial law, but bestow their own kind of martial law in the form of Occupy protests by blocking daily life. Again, they're not against martial law. They want to be the ones doing martial law. It's that simple. It's pretty easy to understand. Would you want martial law? It sounds retarded. No, of course not. Martial law isn't necessary. You just need to figure out. The problem is that this is the main issue. The amount of people that are actually causing problems is like extremely minor. It's like such a small fraction of the population. So really, you have to cut off the head of that group. Like, you figure out who the leaders are in this group, you arrest them, you figure out who's actually organizing this, you get rid of them, and then everything else will generally go away. Now, obviously, it's not like it's a instant solution. It's, of course not. But it will reduce it by like 80%. And at that point, the remaining amount can be easily dealt with on a case-by-case basis. And Cash is underperforming. Yeah, please explain martial law to stupid people. It's basically military police everywhere, right? I mean, it's pretty simple. But I don't know all the details. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's probably a variation. Like, I don't know if we've ever had martial law in the U.S. I think once, but that was like a very, very, very long time ago. So yeah, everybody's asking for martial law. Declare martial law in all blue cities. Oh boy. Go around and round up all the illegals, cartel members and gang members. I mean, I would be okay with that in general. I would. If they do it inside of a city that has a lot of crime and they just pretty much go in and then get rid of everybody that commits crime, yeah, sure, of course.
Make no mistake, they will be brought to justice.
Get they ass.
Since this is an assault on a federal law enforcement officer, this will be treated at the federal level as an assault on a federal law enforcement officer. The FBI will lead out on that mission with our interagency partners, to include the Department of Homeland Security, Secret Service, ATF, DEA.
There it is.
And we're thankful for the mayor's assistance in this matter, the Metropolitan Police Department and their skills in investigating homicides and gun shootings in this city is exceptional. We will work together collaboratively because this is a matter of national security, because this is a matter of pride. President Trump has been informed. We've been in contact with the White House. We will shortchange the American public with no resources to make sure we find and safeguard our nation's capital right here in Washington, D.C. and bring anyone responsible for this heinous act of violence to justice. I would lastly like to add to the American public and the world.
That's me.
Please send your prayers to those brave warriors who are in critical condition and their families. They are here serving our country. They are here protecting everyday Americans and citizens around the world in our nation's capital. They are the heroes of this day, and we must remember them on this day and every day, and their families and the sacrifice they have made. I will now turn it over to Chief Carroll of the Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you.
That's pretty good. That's all right.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff Carroll. I'm the Executive Assistant Chief here at the Metropolitan Police Department. At approximately 2:15 this afternoon, members of the D.C. National Guard were on high visibility patrols in the area of 17th and I Street Northwest when a suspect came around the corner, raised his arm with a firearm, and discharged it at the National Guard members. The National Guard members, there were other members that were in the area. They were able to, after some back and forth, able to subdue the individual and bring him into custody. Within moments, members of law enforcement in the area were also able to assist and bring that individual into custody. At this time, as the director mentioned, the National Guard members are being treated at a local hospital. DC Fire and EMS responded to the scene to provide first aid for those individuals and transport them to a local hospital. The suspect in this case was also transported for treatment at a local hospital. Madam Mayor?
Thank you. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C.
I didn't know Bowser was a real name.
I want to send my thoughts and prayers to the families of the guardsmen.
I thought that was just
the guardsmen who are in
like
critical condition in a local hospital. I am joined by members and leadership from the D.C. National Guard,
Doug Bowser
from
too.
the West Virginia National Guard, United States Secret Service, Deputy Mayor Pia, Fire Chief Donnelly, and Metro's General Manager Randy Clark. And we join with the FBI Director in ensuring that MPD investigates, the U.S. Attorney prosecutes this case to the fullest extent of the law. I've had the opportunity to brief U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was speaking to the president when I called, as well as the United States Attorney Pirro, who assured me that this case will have her office's complete attention.
Mayor, was there any other suspect?
Is there another?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
So no, at this time there was no indication that there was any other suspect. The one suspect that
just
was
one dumb idiot.
They were shot during the interaction, and they were transported to the
That's
hospital
it?
for treatment.
Only once? Does this validate the need?
What
it's
we
just
know,
a crazy
Andrea,
retard.
Is that this is a targeted shooting. One individual who appeared to target these guardsmen. That individual has been taken into custody.
Mayor, can you tell us any more details on the condition of the two National Guards?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Whether or not anyone else was injured. And a quick question follow-up for the FBI Director. You said that we'll make sure we find the perpetrators for this act. So just to clarify, the person believed to be responsible is in custody and there are no other suspects.
Sure, so I can start out. Again, Chief Carroll from MPD. So both of the individuals, the Guard members, they are in critical condition at a local hospital at this time being treated. At this point, we have no other suspects.
They declared the deaths? Yeah, but they took it back,
appears, like I said, to be a lone gunman that raised a firearm and ambushed these members of the National Guard, and he was quickly taken into custody by other National Guard members and law enforcement members.
Have you got any sense of motive?
Motive?
No, at this time, obviously, we're very in the preliminary stages of investigation. There's a lot of things, a lot of agents that are here from various federal agencies, law enforcement agencies. We have the full power of the FBI and our federal partners here in the task force. So we're looking at all those different aspects, but we don't have any motive. The National Guardsmen that were shot, I'm told they were armed.
Well, yeah, I would expect that they'd be fucking armed.
Preliminary investigation.
Random guy shot National Guard members. I think there's more to it.
Sure. So how the suspect was apprehended?
Bad shit happens,
the individual, the suspect came around the corner.
It's possible for bad things to happen.
Firearm at the 2 National Guard members. So at that time, there were other National Guard members that were in the area. They heard the gunfire. They actually were able to intervene and to kind of hold down the suspect after he had been shot on the
just
ground
a
until law
nutball, bro.
enforcement got there within moments. At this point, we're still investigating exactly who shot that individual. It's not clear at this time.
Damn, so it could have just been a random guy that saw him and just popped him off.
We don't know what kind of weapon. There was DC police. It happened right in front of the Metro, although there is no indication that the perpetrator was on the Metro. So there's Metro Transit Police in the area, and obviously being on 17th Street by the White House, Uniform Division Secret Service.
Chief's lower position of Aaron Patel is one. Well, I mean, this is the guy that's going to know everything because he's boots on the ground, right? That's why they're letting him answer.
We're going to be able to take a couple more.
Yeah, I think it makes sense this guy knows the most. That's his job.
Sure. Again, so as I said, we're very preliminary in the investigation, so we're looking into all aspects of who the individual is, his connections. At this time, he's still in the hospital receiving treatment.
And I would just like, hang on, I would just like to add, the reason that this suspect is in custody is because of the bravery of the men and women of the National Guard who responded due to their extensive training to secure American lives today. There was not any further injury and any further shootings. We should highlight the fact that the men and women of law enforcement, the interagency, the Department of War, and the National Guard executed their training with great precision today and prevented an even greater tragedy from befalling us. These National Guardsmen are heroes, and we must pray for their safety and their speedy recovery. And as the chief said, we are in the preliminary stages of this investigation. We will run down every single lead, every piece of evidence.
Are they trans
this
or
is the
not?
power of the U.S. government at its best at the state, local, and
Are they a
federal
Muslim?
level. That is why this interagency group is standing behind us to assure America and the world that we will continue to keep D.C. safe. And thankfully, we have Metropolitan Police Department, the National Guardsmen, and federal agents, and the Department of Justice and an Attorney General willing to prosecute the mission to keep Americans safe. And President Trump has rightly stated that this heinous act will be investigated, and he has thanked the National Guardsmen and women and the men and women of law enforcement.
Thank you.
Great.
The suspects say anything at the time. Why did the West Virginia governor say that they Chief, was anyone else shot besides the two?
Have the families been notified?
Jesus Christ. What do you think? Have the families been notified? Fucking obviously. What a dumbass question. MSNBC is already defending the gunman? What the fuck?
But of course, you know, there's so much controversy happening in the United States right now with ICE, who are also wearing uniforms and wearing masks. And so there's, you don't know, people walking around with uniforms in an American city. There are some Americans that might object to that. And so.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it makes sense. You should just kill him. Why don't we just kill him?
Apparently this shooting has happened. Right now with ICE, who are also wearing uniforms and wearing masks. And so there's, you don't know, people walking around with uniforms in an American city. There are some Americans that might object to that. And so apparently this shooting has happened.
That's crazy. It's crazy to say that. Yeah, wow. And it's Kingpin? Yeah, I guess so. Uniforms are death sentences? Yeah, I mean, I didn't know this is collected. These people are fucking insane, defend the shooting in uniforms. To be fair, like, to give him benefit of the doubt, maybe he's not doing that and he's just explaining why it might have happened. But it certainly doesn't come off very well. A few days ago, 6 Democrats claimed President Trump was issuing unlawful orders to the military and that troops must resist. Now 2 National Guard members were targeted. I think that's basically it, too. And I think also this is the kind of stuff, like, this is the problem with, like, the language that people like that use, is that they create a permission structure for being violent. That's kind of what happens, is that, you know, basically you don't have people that are always advocating directly for violence, but you do have some people that are advocating for a permission structure that enables violence on like step 3 or step 4, but not necessarily on step 1. So yeah, I don't think reminding soldiers to follow their oath contributes to violence. I do. I think that you're being intellectually dishonest. I think that a lot of the people that are in that video, these are people that are enabled by mainstream media, and mainstream media and a lot of these politicians have continuously, repeatedly said that it's a constitutional crisis. It is a, we're losing our democracy. Trump is becoming a dictator. Like, we all know this has happened. So you can't go and basically say, this guy is doing things that's illegal. This guy is doing things that's illegal. This guy is doing things that are illegal. This guy's doing things that are illegal. And then you say, don't listen to guys that are doing things that are illegal. And then somebody says, oh, you're saying not to listen to the president. And they say, oh, no, that's not what we're saying. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's obviously what you're saying. And I think this is the problem, is that this dishonesty should not even be taken seriously at all. It should not be taken seriously at all. It shouldn't be reasoned with even in any extent. Yeah, we didn't say this, but if it happened, we hope it happens again. Yes, exactly. They've been doing it for 10 years now. If you don't know what's happening, you're a retard. Well, they're lying. And so it's weasel word bullshit. Yeah, exactly. So basically, it's the same as... This is the reason why people get defensive whenever, there's like all this language of killing Nazis and, killing, these different groups of people, is that, or killing racists, for example, or anything. I think Nazi is probably the best example, is that you can't go and like be part of a community that calls people Nazis. Like, oh, you're a Nazi, 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 you're a Nazi. And then also say to kill Nazis. And then people say, hey, wait a minute, why are you saying that? And then they go, oh, well, what do you mean? You want to defend Nazis? Well, no, but the problem is, like, whenever you make your entire online personality, basically advocating violence for certain groups of people who you disagree with, but then you also call their certain people as part of those groups, you are advocating for violence against those people indirectly. You absolutely are. And that's what I think happens, is that many of the cases is that people attach these labels to individuals, and then later on, they will say what should happen to the people that are given these labels. So whether it's a racist, whether it's a homophobe, or whether it's a transphobe, like punch transphobes, punch homophobes. And by the way, being transphobic is thinking that, men and women have biological differences. This is the problem, right? And so this is the dissonance that's created, is that it's basically two pieces of a puzzle that come together that creates a permission structure for violence against people that they disagree with. So each of the pieces is not problematic in itself, but the problem is that you're putting both of them forward inside of an ideology that you want people to believe. That's the big issue. Yeah, it's enabling. Yes, exactly. They used to say punch Nazis while they call everybody else a Nazis. Exactly, yes. So it's a big problem whenever you're saying punch Nazis and you're calling everybody a Nazi, because you're basically saying you should punch everybody. That's the reason why it's problematic. And that's the reason why I didn't agree and I didn't like the fact that they were telling all these troops. And I think that you're completely being dishonest by saying that. Do you really think that all of these politicians and all of these, I think they were all Democrat politicians, were not... Do you think that they genuinely were trying to say this? Were they really trying to help these people understand their oath more? Or were they trying to delegitimize Donald Trump? It's pretty obvious.